There's some hard times in life. You can be your absolute low, but it all leads to a purpose and leads to something so much bigger. So my name is Sadie. My camp name is Prime at Muskoka Woods, and I love working with kids in so many different ways. Whether it's at camp or at home or just being around kids in churches or groups, it's really just my happy place to see kids thrive and shine. My story starts from back when I was 4 years old. I had a big brain tumor and I was really sick. And I had to have a pretty severe brain surgery to help me be like every other kid. So they took out a big tumor that was affecting my everyday life, and I recovered, I was well, and just lived like every other kid. I grew up in school like every other kid, had tons of friends. That was basically my story for about 10, 12 years. And then shortly after I got baptized, I got really sick to the point where I'd have headaches all day, every day. And around 15 years old, I started to have these moments where I would feel a bit zoned out and confused and be like, what's my name? Where am I? But it got to the point where those little zoning out moments happened about 4 times a day. And I got diagnosed with epilepsy at 15. And it really was just a miserable lifestyle to live in. I became a little bit desperate to become better. And so it took another 2 brain surgeries to stop the seizures. I remember waking up and I was in a lot of pain. And the doctors expected that I would recover and be able to just barely pass high school. But soon after, I did grade 12 classes and I got straight A's and A pluses in my classes, and we reported it back to the doctors and they said they've never seen this, or only 1 or 2 times in their 25-year career, so they said that I was a little bit of a miracle. And from there on, I learned I'm super passionate about neuroscience and how the brain works, but also passionate towards people with disabilities. And so I thought, if I've been given this story and this experience, I can use this story that I've healed from to serve back to other people with a similar story, because I know what it's like in their shoes and I want the best for them. So when it comes to Muskoka Woods, I love when I can tell kids that story and tell them how there's some hard times in life. Whether it's a very different story that you have, you can be your absolute low, but it all leads to a purpose and leads to something so much bigger. I really liked how I could just relate to the kids, especially those who struggle with communication skills. I was in their boat, especially right after the surgery. I couldn't communicate what I needed, and I know how hard it is and how frustrating it can be. And so learning that patience and empathy for those kids, I don't think I would have had that in my exceptionalities job here if it wasn't for the story that God gave me. Everyone here has the most support they could get from their counselors, their instructors, all of the other staff that go around at camp, and they can learn so much about themselves and be met at with where they are in their own lives, regardless of the people around them and regardless of their circumstances. It's really cool to see kids at all different ages grow in this way and learn that about themselves here and about each other as well.